I'm not even really sure how to start this or where to go with this, because it's something a lot of you all know. But it's really interesting how every artist or everyone who has an artistic practice inevitably will overcomplicate things. Um, and this happens in the music world when you use digital technology and you have a ridiculous amounts of options, plugins, track counts, all of these different things. It's just unlimited, and that can be really stifling in some ways. In the analog domain, it's similar. If you have a little bit of a budget, then you're able to pick up different pieces of gear. And when you pick up one piece of gear, you want another piece of gear. And then you pick up that other piece of gear, you realize you need this to go with that piece of gear. And it leads to this really vicious cycle of constantly thinking that you need something external to complete something that you already know how to do, and you can achieve maybe just with a little bit more work. I came from making little beat tapes with a beat busted up 2000 XL, in a Tascam tape machine, or the Roland VS 880 when I was really going, high end digital. And now it's like you have all this gear and all this stuff, and you accumulate and you accumulate and you accumulate. Oh, let me spend $500 on this plugin package. Let me spend $2,000 on this new audio interface. And it's like you make less and less and less. So you make stuff that has less of that innocence and that feeling and that energy. And it's just something I've noticed, and it's something I've talked to, a good friend of mine, Solo Artistics on YouTube, but, I call him DJ Reason. And it's a conversation we have all the time, just as artists. It's just, what do we do with all this technology? Number one, with everyone now having all these amazing new pieces of gear, is all the music that we're making going to sound the same? And number two, at what point do you just sort of stop accumulating new technology and just keep it simple to the old stuff? Like, when do you advance, and is it making all of our stuff sound the same? If we're all using, the Waves plugin package, are we all going to make music that sounds the same? These are the conversations that we have, and this is the question that I'm honestly posing. If every single one of us, puts a decapitator on our bass, are all our bass sounds going to sound the same? And one of the things that I'm always pushing for, at least with my music, and the most fun part of making music, is sampling my own sounds and really, really getting out of the habit of just taking what everyone else is doing and just completing and creating a completely original sound. Now, of course, that's the benchmark, and that's almost impossible to hit. But the only way to do that is to step out of this cycle of just getting the same gear that everyone has and go in different directions. Try different things with the existing gear that you have. And that's just sort of what I'm thinking about this morning. And I don't have an answer to this question. It's not even a fully formed thought or a question. I'm just here because my MPC is in the shop. It's been in the shop for about 3 weeks, and I've just been reorganizing my studio, selling things, buying some things, and thinking a lot about what it is I want to do with music, having a little bit more intention behind why I have certain pieces of gear. And certain pieces of gear I have because I read on a forum that they were great, or I heard from some producer that I admire that they use them, and I get them and I don't think they're that great. And I think that's a huge waste of time and money when you get something because you think it works for someone else. And the only way to find out is obviously to use it yourself. But it's so much more enjoyable and productive if you go out, find your own strange samplers or guitars or, just sound enhancing devices or degrading devices, and use them in your own way to make your own sound. I'm trying to stay off YouTube and the internet, which is ironic because we're on YouTube now, but I don't want to hear, these are my top 5 plugins anymore, because I'm tired of, using the plugins that y'all use. In fact, the way that I redid my system just now, I completely cut the computer out. So now I'm completely DAWless. I was kind of 80% hybrid, where I was recording ultimately in the computer, but at the moment, the next, selection of beats, grooves, and sample packs and things I'm going to make are going to be completely analog. And I'm trying some new routing possibilities where I'm breaking some rules. You know, you're not supposed to send a kick through this sort of preamp and do this and do that. I don't give a fuck. I'm doing it. Anyway, the point of this entire thing is just that I'm just thinking and rambling, and going back to the conversation that I had with my friend DJ Reason. His response to, if we all have, the 404 MK2, aren't we all going to make beats that sound exactly the same? All the effects are the same. We all have the same plugins. Aren't they going to be the same? And he's an OG. He basically was like, nah, man, it's you. You're the artist. It's all about what you do with it. And so no matter what, if you got it, you got it. So you're going to take this machine and make it do something that only you could do and say something that only you could say through this piece of equipment. And I think that was really refreshing to hear, because I think that's why we're here. And I think that's the point of making music, for this equipment to enable our individuality to be expressed. Peace, and thank you for the support, for the comments, and just starting a dialogue and the discussion, or continuing the discussion. I hope everyone is well. Happy Sunday.